I'm not saying there's any reasonable evidence that UW Dialectical was behind the shooting of Robb Elementary or whatever it was, in whatever Texas. Um, but I can tell you how, if it was, it worked. What UW Dialectical is a military sociology hybrid station that leapfrog across international borders and calls itself the Green Party. They're behind Flame Over Africa and stuff. Um, how they wangle is they say things like how you like it big and what goes around comes around. So, you know, they would shoot up an elementary school with a lampoon of the Israelis bombing a, a, a Yemen school bus. But really, the organizing power is the same one behind both incidents. That's the secret. That's what makes it Yimbo, which is too sophisticated for the nerdy detectives in like Allegheny County or Kent County. So we lose handsomely one after another because they're free to hotwire hybrids from a hybrid station. Zap this one, zap that one. It's lampoon politics. But they make it look like, oh, it's sudden. It's how you like it, bitch. What goes around comes around. And in other words, it's like it's like the Green Party's insufferable justification for poisoning someone. It's like equity, they call it. You say abandon the Hippocratic Oath, the idea that a person is innocent. These were innocent school children that had done absolutely nothing wrong, and they were held guilty by some faction, perhaps, by virtue of being American school children or Latin American school children, and near the border Latin American school children. In the way that the Crow Cag Reguster Coronor pigeonholed me with the help of Mark Utz, the guy who burned the girl's arm gangrenous from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. That still has the upper hand in Seattle over poor old deaf queerball. Marcus. Um, it's because the little boy of the Hiroshima, that sedlance that needs to be taken care of so that Tweedle Tweedle can rest in peace. He gives the blank check of the American national history to the Crow Hagrid Gooster Coronor and says, they are our lieutenant, not as Chomsky. That's why Chomsky puts in the spin. Britain is America's lieutenant. Britain is America's lieutenant because he knows what the retort is. Who's real lieutenant now, dog eyes? That's what if there was a syncopated pandemonium, as Penis Floyd would put it. That's where it's general vicinity of Yoyimbo hybrid warfare, which I realize you can't grasp. That's a little bit. I mean, they can't even connect the dots that I was locked in the kitchen with a butcher named Casper from Salk Labor working with Arc Artec because they were colleagues at a community college. They can't put that together. They say, if anybody was playing pussy ball, it was you, Mr. Curry. I wasn't playing pussy ball. There's absolutely no truth to it whatsoever. My report about Leslie Katz's behavior, let's put it that way, was turned into the page by the Ouspensky Circle, which means they conjured it. They were waiting for the page. Let's find the page that we need for the ground production. In the failure of this military entertainment lobby that they call the news, to even address this, comes from McCartney and Kissinger and the smuggling with Putin. I mean, it's all been decided by the leapfrog oligarchs in the Uspensky circle. We're just insufferable gnats. Rockefeller called us ants. And they have Senegalese types stamping on the ants. I mean, it's not that it's black versus white. That's all delusion mongering. They have this like cult of Cocoa Krispies or something, saying we're the black men and we get wrongfully accused, so we're going to make it up by wrongfully accusing someone else, right? And subverting the dominant paradigm is what they call my gratitude for having my personal safety rescued by two strangers. It's very paranoid. I don't really think that way. There was two kids that were strangers, and I'm very grateful to them. Don't let any of this stuff get in the way of my gratitude. Thank you for helping me. But they see everything black was white, black versus white. That a woman who was black stabbed Martin Luther King, but it was a white man who was behind it. And I'm not trying to undercut the reality of racism. I'm trying to show you how it is operational in this situation. It's operational in this situation because they helped the Ku Klux Klan torture me because they said that they would get ahead in the pecking order that way. And that's that's the new world that Kissinger and McCartney have built. You know, and they say it was because I was upset. I was trying to stop museum thieves. I was trying to stop pornographic exterminators. I was trying to stop me. If they had listened to me and intervened in 1984, we wouldn't have had the war in Iraq. We wouldn't have, there were so many things that would have fallen. Federal marshals could have taken action to put on hold, or listening to these terribly mentally disturbed militarists. And it didn't happen because Penis Gabriel was in place with some macabre story that because I told Migliozzi that David Cohen left his basement window open and put him out because I told him that. I don't think I had any intent to steal from him. He said, "Oh, we go get an appliance." This was the word he used. Because I told, because I just talked whatever I heard, off the top of my head because of that. Penis Gabriel had to start ripper hattering. He had to straighten out Courtney Kennedy so she knows that America is Britain's lieutenant. They're not our lieutenant. And Mick Jagger was Charlie Watts' singer. Go ask Clint. This isn't about saving the rainforest. This is a matter of principle. I had to get by Theta Kappa and graduate, make honors from college, just to be allowed to explain to you what they're doing. And nobody watches me, except people I'm not allowed to know who they are. It's cute. And they say it's all over a penny. What they made millions ripping us off. you know. I mean, I had the IRS send me a letter saying it's okay to ask mom for some bread money when you've run out. I mean, the IRS took months to come to the conclusion that my account was not so iffy, shifty that UW Dialectical should shoot up an elementary school. I mean, it's clear that UW Dialectical may have totally disagreed with that finding, but anyway, you understand what's wrong is hybrid UMO is not grokked by men. The police department don't fathom it. They're incapable of summoning the verb to grok, capiche, comprehend. And as a result, everything has to be in black and white. If a black man kills a black man, it's the white man who did it. If the white man kills a white man, it's the black man who did it. Because that's the only way they can think of the world around them. It's through the indoctrination to the logarithm of grudge feud. And as a result, everybody is subordinated to it. And so they ride high. They just pick off this, pick off that, pick off this, pick off that, you feel better, you feel better, want some more. It's like Bernie goats. Bernard Waltz is out looking for scapegoats. He Bernie goats these people. The black man was the victim. Remember that? I mean, I'll tell you a story. People talk about my innate racism. It came into the laundromat where I favored writing poetry, or at least think about poetry. It was a cool place. I'm deaf, so maybe it was the purr of the machines. I don't know. He says, I was walking. I mean, he describes some many times situation I've been at. He says, these black guys came over to me and asked me for a cigarette. And I could see what was coming. And I need to whip some respect into them. So I hit him. I said, what'd they do? He said, they beat the crap out of me, man. We got it. I started to laugh. And then it proves you're not inherently nonviolent, son. You know, it doesn't prove, well, yeah, it's sort of a stretch to say it proves I'm genetically racist. Would I have laughed if it was the other way around? No, I said the kid was scared to death of you. What are you wolf packing him for? Yeah, but I don't believe they wanted anything but a cigarette from him. I mean, I've had kids bother me that, mugged by children. I know that there's carjacking in the world. I'm not being naive. But the story didn't sound true. He boogie monstered some kids who just wanted to get acquainted, you know. And I don't know where Clint Eastwood comes off saying, people like me are the problem or whatever he does in this dumb movie. Because we won't stand up and bar our teeth and take out our sword when a girl is in need of protection, and maybe it's chivalry is important in some cases. But to make the whole world a pressure cooker where you set out to prove that someone isn't worthy because they don't understand what to do in a situation that's been made dishonorable by a total society's negligence. It's a bit of a stretch, but very typical of Hollywood. The majority of situations that resemble the basic leanings of those kinds of situations turn out to be completely innocuous. They're just encounters by white strangers with black strangers. And when a white man attacks a white man, it is not the black man who's at fault. And when Martin Luther King's mother was killed by a black man, it was not the white man who was at fault. That's just person is identified. One of their identifying features is their skin color sometimes. Now, I realize that people get profiled, and I realize innocent people are put on trial because they're black and even get convicted, and it really tears me up. Those are stories that are very painful for me. But to turn it into like a feud is just making yourself a laughing stock of the Oyinbo Green Party. And that's that. Why do you think Putin is always laughing? I mean, because him and Trumpy Tune have worked over the NAACP so many different ways. It's sad. Who in the right mind would ever mistake the diligence with which I went to go to school, would study African American history, African American art, African American philosophy, my admiration for Fannie Lou Hamer, for Diane Nash, for James Bevel, my comprehension of the stress issues, my love of the story of JFK getting Martin Luther King out. Who would mistake my reading of the Facts newspaper, of the Medium, of Pittsburgh Courier, my leveling with them about my girlfriend, and my friendship and offers to help them on many different occasions, with wanting to subvert a dominant paradigm in a stupid argument with Shifty. And yet that's all they ever can think of in Seattle. And a lot, probably in Pittsburgh too. I mean, what kind of bright induction is all of this stupidity? But that's what's responsible for gunning down the children. Is that we keep reinforcing the brain numb stupidity. We keep reinforcing the brain induction stupidity. We keep pushing the brain induction stupidity, and then somebody says, "Aha! I've seen the light," and goes out and kills some children. I mean, it's wise, but it's highly, highly penis Gabriel. I mean, that is his whole hymn.